let's move to the roadmap because there's lots of exciting stuff coming there as well.
Okay, so we've recently actually published, as part of the Cilium documentation, a public-facing roadmap. So this includes some areas that are not service mesh, but there's a big section here about service mesh, because obviously that's a big focus for the project right now. And some of the features that you'll see in this list already exist in the beta, some of them not yet. Some of them are things like the Spiffy integration that we've been talking about today. And some of these things you will see graduating into stable in the upcoming v1.12 release, which you may have seen if you're a Cilium user. You may have seen there's some release candidates already out there in the wild. So you can see exactly which of these features are making it into those release candidates as we go. So I guess we could kind of talk through what these are. I guess starting at the top here, we no longer need to maintain a separate Cilium service mesh feature branch. It's all been integrated into Cilium. It's the manifestation of service mesh becoming part of the networking component. It really is there. And I think that in v1.12, we are expecting to graduate the Kubernetes ingress capability to stable. We've had, really good response on that. It seems to be behaving very well. That includes being a Kubernetes conformant ingress. And the visibility, we talked about how visibility was such an important part of this, and kind of automatically get visibility of ingress traffic through Hubble. And support for additional annotations. Thomas, do you want to speak a little bit about the kind of annotations that are going to be supported both now and in future releases, perhaps?
Yeah, so I think this is an area where we're really looking for user feedback. We got quite a bit throughout the beta program already. Ingress is a classical example where there is essentially the Kubernetes standard, but almost everybody uses some form of annotations, whether it is for canaries, whether it's for SSL pass-through, like lots of additional functionality that almost all ingresses support in some way, but are not part of the Kubernetes ingress standard, want to be supported. So we're 100% upstream conformance now. We're passing the conformance test, which is great. We're now adding the annotations that you most need. So whatever annotations that you're currently using, whether it's with Ambassador, whether it's with Contour or Nginx or Istio, whatever additional functionality that you need that is not found in the Kubernetes ingress spec itself, please let us know. This is essentially the next step to add the most desirable ingress annotations.
And with more on the kind of observability side, we have a Hubble Open Telemetry collector, and the Cilium itself generates Prometheus metrics. So there's some additional metrics there. I think the Open Telemetry collector, I personally haven't seen a lot of feedback on that. So I would love to see a few more people trying that out and telling us how they get on with that. But the Prometheus metrics, I think we are, I don't know if we counting those as stable in 1.12 yet, but they certainly seem to be behaving very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's planned to be stable for 1.12, but we'll make a final decision the day before we actually write the release blog, I would say.
And then we have the ordering of these bullet points is not super logical. So, but the next point really speaks to the control plane, the configuration of service mesh. So I think particularly for what I'd like to call vanilla service mesh use cases, if you're doing basic configuration, you can already do that with the Kubernetes ingress that we already have. We're looking at adding additional annotations to Kubernetes to provide more of that kind of layer 7 functionality, the things like the retries and so on. And this is all about how you get the configuration from a high level abstraction into the Envoy configuration, which is, I would say for us, we consider that quite a low level abstraction, the configuration of those Envoy listeners. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if we look at what we can already do, we can already kind of do the 80% service mesh use case, right? We can already provide visibility, and ideally you don't need to configure much to actually enable that. And that's kind of the case. Essentially it's a single knob, turn on HTTP visibility, and you get HTTP visibility, and you get Prometheus metrics, you get open telemetry support for that. Then there is a set of layer 7 load balancing, and Ingress in combination with, for example, Gateway API, which is also coming, can be a great answer to that already, in particular in combination with certain annotations. So this can do path-based routing, canary, retries, percentage-based routing, request-based routing, and so on, right? And then the MTLS, or the security side, we've talked about before. That will be driven by the Cilium network policy plus, for example, Spiffy or Serve Manager or Vault, which then means that we don't really need our own massive set of CRDs or something. The goal here really is to create something that feels as native as possible with the existing Kubernetes experience that most app teams are already aware of.
We have seen quite a lot of interest in using SMI as that kind of configuration interface. So I guess the balance there between a set of CRDs and the CRDs that teams are familiar with. I get the impression that people see the SMI as a nice middle ground between the kind of complexity and the functionality that people really want to use.